Let's talk about the Wandrd Hexad Access Duffel in blue. Wow, that's a mouthful. Hello, my name is Tim Little. I am a nighttime landscape artist. I live on Cape Cod on the east coast of Massachusetts. And yes, I bought another bag. If you're a photographer, you know that there is no perfect bag for all circumstances. There are perfect bags for specific circumstances. And yeah, I already own this bag in a different color. I bought the Hexad Access Duffel in black via Kickstarter when it was first released. And I have been thrilled with that bag. But recently I picked up this one. This is the Provoke from Wandrd, the 21-liter backpack for my camera gear, and I loved this color. I loved it so much, I started thinking, wow, I really wish Wandrd made this color in the Hexad, and then I would have a matching set potentially. And then it turns out they do, and it turns out they had a big sale recently, and then it turns out that I ended up with another duffel bag. But interestingly enough, this bag came with some unexpected changes from the Kickstarter version, which I'm going to talk about today. So essentially, I'm going to break this down to a couple different categories. First off, I'm just going to do a quick once over on this bag and some of the zippers it has and the compartments. If you want more detail, the link is in the description for my previous video on the black Kickstarter version, which is very close to being the same thing. Very close, but not identical, and we're going to get to that. Then I'm going to talk about the color specifically, because there's a few interesting things to note about the blue. Then I'm going to move on and tell you a little bit about the changes. So there's been some upgrades. There were some just flat changes that I have no real opinion on. And then there was one potential downgrade, and I'm kind of on the fence as to whether or not it's a real downgrade or not. And then I'm going to tell you how this travels, maybe how you might want to travel with it, how I've traveled with it, and give you a suggestion on what make it a little bit easier for you to get through airports. First off, this is a clamshell opening. This is sort of your main compartment area, which is then divided into smaller compartments. Now, of course, it could be a top loader if you wanted it to be, because you can zip around the very top of this bag and reveal just a straight top-down opening, which also will have your laptop compartment. And from there, you can get into the main compartment, or you can just keep the divider in there only to access some of the things that are right on top. Here's a pro tip for you. When you get this bag in, it's going to be in a really flat box. So this bag is going to be super flat. What I did was I packed it with a bunch of old coats and some blankets just to fill it out and let it sit around for a week so it could take its ultimate form. So opening up the bag, you've got three good sized compartments here. You've got what I would consider to be your main compartment. This stretches from end to end. It's as wide as the bag. But then over here, you've got these two smaller compartments. And these are great because you can use them essentially as packing cubes, separate clean clothes and dirty clothes, or you can integrate one of Wandrd's existing camera cubes. And that's where this bag system is really neat, because if you have the Provoke backpack, or Proverky, however you want to pronounce it, you can also just swap that camera gear back and forth while keeping it in the cube. So you can tell that this bag is specifically made for photographers because of some of the front access pockets. You'll notice that on the very front, you've got these two really nice zipper openings for camera bodies. So let's say you're going to go on a shoot and you need to bring more than one camera body. You can put each one in its own cube and access either as you need it. So that's a neat function. I don't actually use it for that. I use this to travel with clothing and tripod, and I put some accessories in here, but I have a separate camera bag. But I like that I have this option if I want to do more of a one bag travel. Inside one of the compartments are extra zipper pouches. So more organization for batteries or shutter release cables or toiletries even. You know, you name it, you can probably find a pocket for it in this bag. Even on the front, where you get your access to your camera gear, if you want to just use that as regular old side access for something else, of course you can. And within those flaps, you've got a little zipper compartment on each of those. The great thing about that compartment, though, is there's a divider that can be removed to bring the two smaller compartments together into one. That's a really neat feature because it does give you a lot of flexibility on how you decide you want to pack this bag, whether you're going to use the cubes or not. On the outside, you've got so many zippers. So many zippers. And we're going to talk about that when I talk about the upgrades. There are pockets on every side of this bag. Obviously, you've got your front access ones that we just talked about. There are some side access ones. Now, you'll see here that there are straps that you can use in order to, go hiking or, running through an airport or whatnot. And you can zipper those away if you want to. You can zipper them into their own pocket. And inside that pocket is another pocket. A lot of pockets. On the back side or the opposite side of those camera openings, you've got these other smaller zippers here. Now, one of these is RFID blocked, and the other one is just the sleeve. I don't know what you'd put in there necessarily, but they go down almost halfway down the length of the bag there. As a backpack, it's actually pretty comfortable. There's mixed reviews on the straps. I've seen some people that were happy and people that weren't thrilled, but I just carried a ton of weight in one of these bags on a shoot, and it's comfortable enough. I mean, it's probably not as comfortable as the backpack that they make, but it's comfortable enough. And you get a sternum strap, which I like, and I've kind of adopted using those at this point. I didn't really find use for them in the past, but the way that they make these bags now, they do feel really useful, and they tend to take some of that weight off your shoulders, which I appreciate. The material on this bag is really nice. It almost feels like a leather. It's called tarpaulin, and that gives you a very weather resistant coating. It's very easy to wipe down, which is great because if you're a dog owner like me who has a dog that sheds his own body weight and hair 4 times a day, this is going to be great to keep clean and wipe down. It does scratch. That's probably my only concern about this bag. It actually came in with a little scratch on it, but I'm not too concerned about it because I know that when I start using it, it's probably going to get marked up a little bit. But you really have to have something fairly sharp to scratch it, like a thorn or a razor or a knife. It's not something that I think would scratch much from everyday use or just putting it down. If you drag it, it's probably going to end up with some marks that way. But it wipes down really easily thanks to the nice smoothness of this material. So if you get into dirty environments or it just gets dusty, it's really quick and easy to clean, and it looks brand new when you're done. The one thing that a lot of people said was, holy smokes, there's so many zippers on this bag. You've got zippers overlapping with zippers and zipped compartments that are touching each other, and which zipper uses what. And I know that was a complaint. I don't know if having too many zippers or too many compartments is in your pro or con category, but it'll take you a little while to get used to using this bag, just in terms of how to access what you need to access based on where your zippers land. Depending on what side your zippers land will depend on whether or not they're overlapping with something else. What I did notice about this versus the Kickstarter version is they included these orange zipper pulls. So that was a nice feature because I didn't get those the last time around. I had an all black bag with all black zippers, and let me tell you, it was kind of tough for a little while until I put my own zipper pulls on there. So with these, you have enough to cover the entire bag if you want. My suggestion would be just change the color of the zippers that you use most frequently, because that would make a lot more sense. Otherwise, you end up with a whole bunch of orange zippers all over the bag and right back to the same problem. There's a little bit of branding on the bottom. Very lightly says Wandrd there. When you're wearing this on your back, it just almost looks like a giant blue sort of box, which is fine. It's a very streamlined bag, and that's what I like about their packs in general, is they look sort of high-tech. I don't want to say tactical because I feel like that's the most overused word. Everything's tactical. Everything's tactical now, if it looks cool. I will say technical and just sort of like futuristic. That's how it looks to me. And that's why I really love all of their bags, is because they have that feel. It's a duffel, yeah, but it doesn't feel like a duffel. It feels like a cross between a backpack and a duffel, just some weird thing in between. But the bottom line is I love just looking at the bag. I think it's a great looking bag. Other people have commented to me on how nice they think it looks. And really, for the price point, I think I paid about $180 for this on sale. I believe they go for around $249-ish or so. It's a good value. This bag is going to last a long time, and they also have a lifetime warranty. So if something just fails, they're going to take care of you. Okay, let's talk about the blue color on here. So I can guarantee right now that whatever color you think you're seeing, it's not that color. And that's the weird thing about this blue. Every video I've seen, it looks slightly different in terms of what shade of blue it is. And that's for a couple different reasons. When we do these videos, we all use different color temperatures for our lighting, maybe different white balances for processing. And that creates this sort of color shifting effect. Wandrd's website, their blue that they show looks very much like the blue that you're going to get in person. So I would describe it as a gray blue with a little bit more blue in it. It even changes color in person, which is kind of odd. So if you look at this under like a whitish light, which is what I'm doing right now, it has that blue-gray blue look, which is a great color. But if you look at this under incandescent lighting, and by incandescent lighting, for those of you who don't know what that is, think of the lights in your grandparents' lamps. Those ones, you know, those yellowy sort of lights. Those are the ones, you know, the ones I'm talking about. This bag will look sort of gray. So it will color shift in person to some degree. But if you're outside or you're under daytime lighting bulbs or bulbs that have cooler color temperatures, it'll look more blue. So I was excited to get this bag in just because of the color. But then I opened up the box and found out that they had made some changes to the bag. And as I mentioned, there were some upgrades, some just neutral changes, and then possibly a downgrade depending on your preferences for carrying. The most important thing I can tell you is the first thing, and that has to do with the upgrade. When this bag first came out, a lot of people complained that the main area, so the part that clamshells open, and then also the top loading area, had zippers that felt a little bit too small for the caliber of the bag. I don't really know my YKK numbers all that well, but a number 6, number 7, somewhere in there, it just wasn't anything that was overly impressive. And it didn't really travel that well around the bag, at least not as well as you would want it to. It just felt like the zippers were too small. And maybe that was a cost-saving method, or maybe that was the only zipper available at the time. So imagine my surprise when I open up this box, find this bag in there, pull it out, and find out that there are number 10s, number 10 zippers in those areas. And those are the ones that are the most important because they have the biggest area to open up. And that's where you want the number 10. So I was absolutely thrilled, besides the color, to see that the zippers had been upgraded. And that's the biggest difference, I think, between the Kickstarter version and this. The thing that I noticed that they changed was right in the front here. So these little clasps are different, and I'm not quite sure why. They function exactly the way that they're supposed to. So you would use this potentially to cinch the bag down a little bit if you had some extra space in there. But for the most part, you know, it's just one plastic clip that's been replaced by another. And I feel like these are the more traditional type clips that you would see on a bag. So for whatever the reason, that's different. It doesn't affect the functionality of the bag. It's not a higher quality clip as far as I can tell, but maybe they just decided that maybe it's more durable, maybe it's more cost effective, maybe the other ones aren't available anymore. I don't know, but that was something that I noticed. And again, not a big deal. So the one thing that they changed that I was surprised to see, and may be considered a downgrade for some people, has to do with the handles. It still has the three grab handles. So you've got one on either side of the bag, and then you've got this one in the back. And that's where this bag is really strong in terms of a feature is, you know, you can obviously carry this as a backpack, or you can hide these away and you can use any one of these handles to very easily carry the bag in multiple ways. But the Kickstarter version of this bag had these nice branded, super thick, extra cushiony handles on every side that I just showed you. And for whatever the reason, that no longer exists. Now, I am compelled to think that they got some feedback that told them that it might have been overkill. Maybe people just didn't like it because, again, they upgraded the zippers. So that was something that people had said, hey, you know, we'd like better zippers. Did anybody say, we don't like these handles? I don't know. That was never anything that I saw anywhere, anybody complaining about. So maybe, again, there was feedback that they thought they would incorporate, or maybe it was just a cost-saving thing. The handles are fine. Carry-on size, yay. I stopped checking bags a couple years ago when I figured out I could pretty much compress everything into my personal item, which is my camera backpack, and this is my carry-on. But if they have to check it, I don't really worry about it because it is really durable. Here's the only rub that I have. When you're carrying this bag and this bag through the airport, it can get tough because chances are, like me, you're gonna put a lot of weight in here, and you're gonna put a lot of weight in here. And the way both of these bags are made is one of them could be on your back, and the other one could be your your carry bag. Either way, whatever you're comfortable with. Or you could do the front bag, back bag thing, but still, it's a lot to go through in an airport, depending on how far away your gate is. I think your best option, if you're going to do that, is to take advantage of how well this bag travels on a cart. This luggage cart cost me $9.99 on, I think, ebags.com a couple of years ago. They had a sale. And I thought, you know what? That might be something I could use. And then I promptly put it in my garage and totally forgot about it, even through the last trip. So on that last trip, I did carry both of those bags through the airports, back and forth, up and down elevators, down hallways through hotels. And my life would have been so much easier if I had just brought this. And there you go. Boom. Strapped right in. Most of these have some sort of elastic strap that helps kind of keep this nice and flush as you're maneuvering in and out of an airport or a hotel. And the backpack that I have, like many of the higher quality ones out there, has a little strap so you can slide it down on top, and through that strap goes this handle, and so that secures itself on there. And quite honestly, when you put these two bags together on a cart, they look fantastic together. I know traveling isn't always about aesthetics, but when you see how they look together as a set, they do look pretty darn good, thanks to this blue. And remember, this blue is not the color you think it is. It's better than that. So there it is, the Wandrd Access Hexad Duffel, or Hexad Access Duffel. Either way, you'll find it. Google it. I love this bag. I think you'd be happy with it if you don't own one. If you already have the Kickstarter version, I think getting the newest iteration of this is worth it because of those number 10 zippers. They really do make a difference, and they'll break in over time. If you can live without the fancy handles on the side, I think I can live without those because I have the zipper. They make this in a green also. I didn't mention that earlier. I haven't seen the green in person. I'm sure it looks different than what you would expect, just like the blue. If you have this, let me know. Tell me what you think of it. If you are thinking about getting it, I would just get it, especially while it's on sale, or wait until the next time it is on sale. This is the bag that's going to last me probably for the rest of my life because of the build quality. And as I mentioned earlier, they do have that lifetime warranty. So if it for some reason starts to fall apart, then I'll just get another one, and I'm not going to really worry about it. So happy traveling. Thanks for watching. And hey, don't forget, luggage cart. Take care.